Okay, so we're
Yes.
just my plan, since we've got a shorter time than normal, is to basically just go through the setup for the battle, and then we'll get to the actual battle next week. So Jacques, you have a choice as a multi-class character between the brutal or parry traits. So brutal. So normally, when you reduce an enemy unit to 0 hit points, they break and start running away, and you have to deal one more damage to them in order
Right.
to destroy them. But brutal, if the unit that you're commanding reduces a unit to 0 hit points, they just die. They don't get a chance to run away.
Yeah, sold.
Um,
Well, it's
the
the
other one,
fighter ability. Yeah.
that's the fighter ability. Uh, parry is the paladin ability, and that is when the unit that you're a part of gets attacked with a melee attack, you can add that unit's morale bonus to its AC against that attack before the attack is rolled.
Mm.
So if you're in a unit that has a high morale bonus,
Ah,
uh, you can potentially give it a pretty high
mm,
AC in melee.
mm. Yeah, I'll
Uh,
take that.
okay, you're going with parry?
Yeah, I'll take parry.
Okay,
That fits with the aesthetic anyway.
yeah.
Parry
They're
this, you filthy casual.
they're very both are good. Um,
Vigor check.
let me
Invest in
just.
vigor.
So I am making a little thing to share with you all. So Isabella, we're going with project defenses for you.
That makes the most sense.
Um, it's just any ally on the battlefield. Okay.
Because I've got that shield reaction I can give the people. So.
Yeah. Okay. Elijah, your ability as a rogue is nimble, which lets the unit that you're attached to disengage as a bonus action, and also move through friendly units uh, without them being difficult terrain. Let me see. And nimble. So normally, if you want to move through another unit, it's treated like difficult terrain, and if you want to disengage, it's a full action. That's the only thing you do. So you can make a unit that you're attached to much more maneuverable. Let's see. Then Minx gets because you're a multi-class fighter or monk, you also have access to brutal. Uh, and then as a bard, you get inspire, which I haven't used very much, so I don't have it memorized. HI.
As a bonus
Uh,
action, an ally this unit chooses gains advantage on its next attack roll. Only one ally can be inspired at a time.
That seems pretty good to me.
okay, so we'll go with inspire.
You sit next to the cannons. You're doing great. Keep it up.
Keep it up. Yamato Cannon, 105.
You see that Alvarez noble over there? I no longer wish to see him.
Yeah.
Drive closer. I wish to hit them with my sword.
Mix
Let's see.
throws javelins. He's like, no, don't drive closer. I'm going to throw them from here.
Let's
Sorry,
see.
wrong commissar.
Da.
And then
We have not invented the chainsword yet. But if we did.
it's only a matter of time, really. So Noctum gets, as a warlock, gets Eldritch Enchantment. If the unit that Noctum is commanding is not adjacent to another unit, it adds 100 feet to the range of its ranged attacks. Um, and then Aerith, as the cleric, gets Heal, which is adjacent allies double their morale modifier when they take the rally action. So that is, remember, the rally action, you can uh, roll your morale bonus. If you hit a 20, you regain a hit point.
Question, Thur.
Yep,
Uh, Flame Skulls being infantry, is that from the book?
I believe so. Yeah, it
Oh,
doesn't
wow.
particularly matter in this.
Well, because
that
they don't have a ranged attack, is what I mean.
yes, yeah. What you're seeing on their character sheets is directly taken from the book.
Okay.
So a lot of things that are ranged in like D&D are not ranged in Crowns and Castles because they're not ranged enough to cover the distance. Because each square is 50
I get
feet.
that. It's
Didn't-
just different from how our guys were. So
Weren't the flaming skulls
The Flame Skulls were super good in the other
flat
version.
like flying cavalry?
it was it was a bit ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, I will give it to Matt Colville and his team. It was very cinematic and cool, but it was also kind of busted.
Yep.
So
I mean, we're fighting Alvarez. Everything's busted.
so yeah, hang on. I need to mess with Tika's computer for a second.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So those are so basically what'll happen is during the battle you can assign yourselves each to a unit, and then whichever unit you pick gets that bonus. So I've shared with everybody all of their units under the New Dawn units parentheses new. So you guys can, if you want to shift around commands, give people other things to command than how I've broken it down here. That's fine. We can update this. I just wanted to like some way to organize things, and this was the most logical thing that I could come up with without any more input from you guys. Just basically troop association. So a little bit less unique, but I think it should be a more interesting combat.
Trying to think of what I would even put myself adjacent to. Probably the cannons. Just sit back with cannons, because it's not like a nimble is gonna help them.
This is ruining our battlefield roles.
Well, I think we agreed we're not going to put a ton of troops outside the walls.
Yeah. Yeah, I gave more space just in case you wanted to, so you guys are free to do it. So inside the
Loyal
city,
beastmen are losing their jobs to skeletons.
let me say that inside the city is all difficult terrain. The walls are impassable, unless it's a flying unit, obviously. Same thing with the water. Along the road is going to be normal. So if you'll see that units are they're like multiple things wide. So if I go in here and I take like let's see, the raiders, yeah, so the raiders are 3 wide. So as long as they keep moving along the road like this, they can move normally. But if they try and move off it and go through these buildings, that'd be difficult terrain. But then like
I can't actually drag the demi-human cannoneers out.
the field, yeah. I made them. I probably should have made them
They all
just
have
all
to drop.
controllable by everybody. Because I don't know how you're gonna.
We're gonna have to make them the demi-human skirmishers now.
No.
Yeah, and just because your character is narratively a part in the unit doesn't necessarily mean that that person needs to command that unit.
I mean, that would make the most sense because you would be responsible for knowing what your ability is.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, and then obviously if you're a flying unit like the Dire Bees, you can just fly right over it. So,
We'll
like
put the beastmen on the bees.
it's
Can
like this
you?
cluster of 4 squares here would be like difficult terrain from these buildings, and then like this here. I do want to ask you guys, do you prefer just like playing it by ear in terms of like the rough terrain versus normal terrain, or do you want me to like outline on the board what's difficult and what's not?
I would say
I'm
outline because I would think that we would know what. I think we'd be
Okay.
aware of what it is.
Okay.
And one of the things we might do in preparation is add some difficult terrain to the roads.
Yeah. So that's a perfect segue into you guys have 2 weeks of prep time before you believe you will be under
Be
siege.
right back.
So in the first week, what are you guys doing for preparation? Who wants to go first with like, we're gonna kind of just do like a little narrative story bit here of what are you guys doing?
Uh, roughly, what is something like as an example? What is something that could be accomplished in 2 weeks?
Um, so
Trenches. Yeah.
yeah, so there's
Maybe? I don't know.
yeah, so in the Crowns and Castles thing, there's a bit about siege battles and preparing for a siege. So you can any of those things would be something you could potentially get accomplished in a week. Um, more like that, I'd be willing to just like give that to you.
Also, looking at this town, it's very very easy to make a moat around it. We just have to like dam this, and just like whoa, go out to the ocean. Look at that! Wow. I don't
Mhm.
know. It's probably a lot of work.
I mean, yeah. Yeah, you
I can
probably
go
won't
to
be able to do
millions.
that in 2 weeks, but you definitely could do that eventually.
We wasted all this time. We could have been making a
um
moat.
in the meantime, we could probably do various forms of. I heard palisades is something that can be.
Yeah, let me bring up
Caltrops, the road.
set up. Where is it? Siege battles. Okay, so you are a defender. So you can construct a Cheval de Frise, which is 100 feet by 50 feet crossed spear barricades, which force an enemy unit to end its movement when entering the squares of the barricade or suffer 1 piercing damage. Um, so it's basically a 2 square roadblock. You can make 3 squares worth of moat, which would be considered deep water and impassable by units that don't have swimming, burrowing, flight, or teleportation. Uh, the oil fields is once per battle. It's a 1 square that you can basically have it be soaked in oil. And if the unit that is in that square takes fire damage, then it takes an additional 1 fire damage.
Do we have anything that does fire?
I believe the cannons do. Um,
The flame skulls probably should too.
the cannons do 1 bludgeoning and 1 fire damage when they hit with their round shot, which
I
is
think
their
we
big.
be better off building defreezes for the cannons, though.
Yeah, I'm not done yet though.
Yeah.
There's also trenches. So you can hit 2 squares worth of trenches, which are considered difficult terrain to enter, but ranged attack rolls made against units in trenches have disadvantage. So you can entrench somewhere if you would like. Then a trou de loup, which is a 1 square patch of hidden spiked pits, uh, which forces a unit to make a rally saving throw or take 1 piercing damage once per battle. And then walls. Oh, here we go. Okay, so these give you the rules for the walls. A set of walls, blah, blah, blah. Each 50-foot section of a wall has AC 15, 5 HP, and is immune to non-siege sources of damage that are piercing, psychic, poison, necrotic, or slashing. Walls also have 1 or more gate entrances that are 150 feet by 100 feet. So that would be this gate right here. That have 4 HP, AC 14, and are immune to that same damage. units along the walls can walk across gates. Yeah. Okay, so that'll be our rules for these walls. So you can add, you could build more walls. Or you can't build more walls. That's just, it describes what they do here. Okay. So yes, you can build the spikes, more moat, an oil field, trenches, or the true to loop. So basically, do you want traps or defensive earthworks? That's like those are like standard things you could do. I wouldn't make you roll for that. Um,
So first, just because I measured out like a good place to put it, can you put the demi-human cannoneers on just so I can position them? Because that's probably going to be the core of our defensive strategy is the cannons.
so you want to put them there?
Yeah, because I have 120 feet, which means they can hit all the way at the top there. But then they're decently down enough where they got to go through a bunch of other stuff. And I think they have to be on the walls because it says it's a 50-foot section wall. So I think they need to be on it. So I think they need to be to get the bonus for the thing. They need to be one up. Otherwise, I'd put like spears in front of them or something. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So wherever they can be to get that advantage to attacks. Because I still can't move them. So.
What's giving them advantage to attacks?
Uh,
Oh wait. Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Ranged units to make attack rolls with advantage from height.
Yep.
Yeah.
Is there any rule about building a moat right in front of the gate so it's not usable at all?
No.
the thing is that the gate's only slightly weaker than the wall, so they don't need to go for like the regular wall has 15 AC and 5 HP. The gate has 14 AC and 4 HP, which is just like slightly less, but yeah.
And I would also say, I mean, I guess there are other ways to get in and out of the city, and we can fill it back in. But cities are large, complicated centers of logistics. I don't know that building a moat would do much for the long-term stability of this place.
Well, you would just have to go out this gate or build a bridge.
Yeah.
But here's my other question: is how many actions are we allowed in these 2 weeks?
So you each are going to get 2 actions. That's going to be a total of 12.
And how big are the moats?
3 squares.
I think you get 3 squares per action.
So that's 36 squares of moat.
It sure is.
Are y'all seeing what I'm seeing here?
Yeah.
Hang on, let me zoom out a bit.
That's 50.
So if you start here,
That was 57 squares that you measured, Nash, but yeah. So it's 23 to
And
do that.
I need to be a little bit further up. Okay. So if you start there,
Whiny dog?
Yeah.
so you could theoretically build a moat like that.
I think it'd probably make more sense if we started here.
It sure would,
And then
but that still covers most of the wall and
Yeah.
the gate.
And then you can put melee units down here to sort of
Yeah.
funnel them towards that.
That would be your only thing that you do, though. That would
I
require
mean,
all of you working together with all of your resources to accomplish that.
How
Is that what you?
how do hiding units work? Like if we put a bunch of because if we just put like a moat instead here and we use some of our time to like bury some zombies like in this area because they're gonna the
Mhm.
easiest way for them to move is gonna be coming down here because this is all it's farmland but it's also buildings so they could go down here and like go across but they're gonna
Yeah.
be pelted the whole way through. If a lot of them
So-
take the road and we have just like cross their T's with some units from here.
Yeah, so the fields are going to be regular terrains. Like these orchards here are
Yeah.
basically free roam zones. It's farmland near a city. It's going to be pretty intensely farmed. But I did want to have like some clear things to maneuver through.
Well, if it's
You know
an
what's
orchard,
another
it's
thing that's not on the defensive menu? Is those undead sharks we got that we can put in the moat.
If
I
they have
never
a swim
agreed to
speed.
this.
All I'm saying. Noctum's gonna do that. He's still got those 2 sharks. They've been sitting in the sun. Anyways,
Uh,
go on.
what would be useful, and what we'd probably have from Elijah's crew. Do we know what the enemy has, unit-wise?
You know, yeah, you have a pretty good idea. You don't know the exact numbers, and you probably won't until they're closer. So this is at the beginning of the 2 weeks because the forces that the capital and House Dumont have sent have not arrived yet. But you know that Blackwood has mostly human troops, with a few supporting stormtroopers. And also his own personal swarms of bats.
Okay, that's what I was going for. Is like, what does the flying stuff look like?
Yeah.
Wait, I
So-
forgot we were fighting vampires. The moat's just perfect. It's like, yeah, fuck you. Running water, idiot.
And that's the thing, is it, maybe we don't need to moat everything, but at least a funnel.
I don't think it's technically running water.
We have a river up here and also the ocean.
If
It's
we
gonna
could
be
get
running
to
within
the ocean,
moat.
it would be, but we don't have enough time to dig that big of a moat.
Well, if Miss fucking Gravity Brain gets to work.
I mean, Thur already said how much we could do. Like, that's assuming that
Yeah,
I'm
don't
pulling my
sleep.
weight
Get
too.
to work. You could have been doing this for weeks,
That's
but you're faffing about.
all right. Listen here, Mr. Black Goo experiments in the center of the city.
Yeah, I'm making important things. We could make that. We could put that out here and light it on fire. I don't know.
Let's see, how much actually is it?
I forgot the catapults only have 450 feet, while the cannons have 1,200.
So you only need, if you can get to there, it's only like 100, 200 feet to there. And I mean, it's already kind of. I'm gonna say, yeah, okay. I'm here. Here's what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say you can make a moat that goes from up here on the river all the way down to about here, basically to this bay here, and basically redirect the river. But that's gonna be the only prep work you guys get to do.
That's also going to cut off our source of fresh water from the city.
Not
Well,
What about
temporarily.
the river is big enough because it already has multiple like
Okay.
big things down here, right? That it goes into.
Yeah, and we
And
could always redam this the week after the battle.
yeah, and you don't need to dig your moat as deep as the river is, right?
Okay.
Besides, if they want fresh water, they can get to work on the moat.
Fair.
That's the thing, is what does that force them to do? Like, obviously the bats are going to come straight at us, so we need melee units, around on the walls, things like that, to help kill the bats and protect our ranged units. But that forces their entire ground force to go where?
There's a bridge up here,
Burn it.
so they would have to go all the way around this way and assault the Twilight Gate if they want to get in.
And
if you build that moat.
range could be assailing him the entire time, and then we could have melee to defend the gate and that side of the river.
Yeah, we could literally set some of our melee on the bridge and around it.
Are there other bridges further north that they could cross,
Burn
or is
them.
that just like
Your your sub commanders will remind you that all of the cannons that you guys got from Alvarez, so they also have access to cannons.
well, yeah, and that was
100%.
because you said human units, and I'm looking at the human units, and the humans have catapults, and I'm like,
Well-
that doesn't seem right.
I will say they have human quote unquote units, but they are armed, like they have access to cannons.
Yeah. So, well, because what I was asking was like not exact number and count, but just like, hey, can we see the stat blocks for what they're going to be throwing at us? I think that we'd have at least that.
Yeah, I'd say for most of it. So their human forces are they've got the pikes, the bows, and the cavalry, and then the dwarven cannons are like their human quote unquote forces.
Yep. Okay.
And then they have their stormtroopers whose stat blocks I'm going to keep secret. The bats, which I am using the imp stat block.
Mm,
Hmm?
we've fought stormtroopers so many times. Like I know
Mhm.
from a DM perspective, I can
Yeah.
see it's like I want to keep the unit things hidden, but from
Okay.
like a lore thing, Jacques
Yeah.
would know what stormtroopers can do.
Yeah, we're also using their cannons, so we kind of understand what they can
Well,
do.
the can
and-
yeah,
Well,
the
yeah, that's I
cannons,
told you
yeah.
what the cannons are
The
look
cannons
like.
we
They're,
know. It's
yeah.
the stormtroopers being a hidden thing. I'm just like lore wise.
Yeah,
That's
that's
a bit
true. You
iffy.
have fought stormtroopers before. So the stormtroopers, you've convinced me, the DM. So good job on that charisma check. Um, I'm using the Deathlock White stat block.
Okay. I need to look up where the fuck that is. Deathlock White 208.
My main
Man,
fear is
Adobe
we don't
got
have a ton of ranged.
Adobe got really bad. I can't search page count anymore. Where's the page 208? There we go.
I think they're probably going to have more ranged units than we do.
Damn, the moat's canceled.
So our cannons are going to have to fight their cannons pretty quick to try to make sure they don't demolish our
Oh
cannons
yeah, that
and then
makes
just
sense. That makes sense. For what
stand
it is.
back and attack us for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's why I was kind of like, you
I've-
guys would know that you have cannons, so you're gonna force them to come in and fight, but they have more access to cannons.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
guess
so
the difference would be how much the defender gets the advantage in the sense that we have a prepared position. They have to fire onto the walls, while we are firing down on them probably in an exposed field.
One thing that
Yeah.
we can do that we did in a previous battle is we had our tree ghouls hidden in the ground and they came out. So we could just hide them in the ground. It's like they'll probably put their cannons here and we'll just have the ghouls come out and attack them.
Well, that was what I was asking for before we decide to dig them out. Is can we spend time burying the zombies?
Yes.
Also, wild. There's no vampire stuff. There's friggin' 3 different Vegapigmies,
I know.
but no vampires.
I know. I was looking through it and I was like, what? There's no vampire spawn unit? At the very
Crazy.
least?
Even just like a vampire lord is like a single unit.
Yep.
Like,
We gotta
that's-
call
No.
the guy out. We gotta get on his Discord and be like, "You're a
Excuse
fraud."
me, sir. There's mummies, mummy lords, myconids. There's measles, whatever the fuck that is.
It's a disease, isn't it?
With
Cousins
a
of
Z.
the mumps.
Oh, I don't know.
Disease.
Measles, page 241. Doesn't say where they are. They can magically teleport up to 100 feet. And they have short swords. They're humanoid militia. Okay, that narrows it down. Thank you very much, game.
You could probably go look on D&D Beyond.
I don't wanna.
Okay. So yeah, so you guys are going to need to decide, and you're going to need to decide now, because if you want this moat to happen, you're going to have to get to work on it right away.
I
Yeah,
don't
it's
think
just a question of if our cannons don't kill their cannons, we spend the rest of the month being shelled.
Yeah, basically.
I mean, also we don't have to like. The moat kind of only has to need to go to like cover the gate, right?
Well, we don't even have to build it that big.
Then we can just concentrate most of their stuff down here.
Oh, they're
So
homeless
we
people
could
who live
cut
in the
off some moat
Shadowfell.
time.
Hmm?
Their measles are hermits who live in the Shadowfell.
I see.
They better stay there.
Yeah, depending
That's why
on,
they don't have herd immunity.
like, they probably have a lot of cannons, which means we need to figure out a way to deal with their cannons.
Moats.
Is there a way we
So
could
the
make
closest,
our?
the
Is there a way we could make our cannons like invisible? Like I know you're talking about burying the zombies. Like, is there a way we could hide our cannons in a
Can I
spot they
cast
wouldn't know
fly
that
on the
gives us a better
cannons?
shot at theirs?
I mean, you can certainly hide them on the walls, but as soon as you start shooting, they're gonna know where they are.
Right, but I mean, the big element of surprise, we could at least like hope to get a huge hit in before they could react.
like, so the arrow that I put on the map is the maximum distance for the cannons. How does Crowns and Castles deal with long range again? Can you you just
You
can't
cannot
shoot
shoot
past?
beyond long range. No.
Okay, that's why I didn't
But
think so.
here's our trump card. Ours are 100 feet longer. They're doomed.
Oh yeah, we could put
Unless
you
they
on
have
them.
2 cannons, then we're doomed.
Yeah, we could put you on them instead. Yeah. put
We
you on the
fire with
cannons.
advantage, they don't, so we have a better chance to hit their cannon. But
Uh,
yeah, with them having 2, it's almost like them having advantage.
But that being said, if we
Or
put
more.
units like around this area to then like charge at the cannons whenever their cannons get in range,
We can
especially
put the bees in this tower too.
we can put the bees in the tower. Yeah. Just in general, they can be in the tower.
Yeah.
What's the movement speed for these bees? Dire
Yeah.
bees.
So I'm gonna say you can deploy units wherever you want on the field. Basically, just give me enough room on the left-hand side of the field to deploy.
What if we
Um,
do something crazy? We put the cannons in the tower. We put oil all over this place. And then when they come to kill the cannons, we set it on fire. And our cannons might set on fire also. But that means they're on fire. There you go. Genius.
So the bad thing about the bees in the watchtower, if we use that to hide them, is they can only go 600 feet, which doesn't really reach where I anticipate their cannons being on the road.
Well, the bees are hidden.
Yeah, but if we hide them, then they're too far away to like charge in one movement and hit them.
But if we put the cannons down here, then they have to.
No, the
Come down here to hit our
cannons
cannons.
being here is great because this is like
Yeah.
they can shell the entire map from this area, so that's where the cannons are. But the bees have 600 feet of movement, so the bees want to be about 600 feet from the road ideally, but there's no real place to hide them.
Yeah. So, our cannons have a range of 13 because they're on the wall.
because of Tenelus.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, which means they can actually be
I'm covering them in goo.
a bit further down in that case.
Okay.
It's gonna go through and-
It is safe to say that they would inherently be able to spot a Gulthias tree like on sight, right?
I mean, they'd be able to identify it. Yeah.
Like immediately looking at two
Nope.
trees, they're like, that one's the Gulthias. You saying no to this idea?
Yeah, my tree needs to be safe.
Okay.
The vampires would be able to. Not necessarily like a common Alvarez trooper.
Okay.
Thur, can you
What if we
scoot-
hold the tree ransom? Like if you attack us, we'll kill the tree.
Well, no, I was thinking like you wanted to like bury the zombies. I'm like, yeah, and then plant the Gulthias tree somewhere so that way it could just like start whomping willow some bastards or something.
Can you move the cannoneers down 2 squares? Just because I was measuring out the max range to the edge of the map, and yeah, so that puts it at 13. Okay, tucks them in a little bit, makes them a little bit safer.
Yeah, and I mean that is something we could do. We could moat that.
We can definitely moat that to make it safe from melee things, but I imagine that a lot of our melee are going to be in this area, so we can, if we're attacking them, we can cross their T's, and then our ranged people are more over here. So, because if they're here and they try and come down here, we can hit them like that. And then if they don't try and come down here, if they instead try to go around, then we can still march on them from this direction. So having this be some kind of staging area and having, like, instead of not necessarily like a moat all the way around. Like I'm fine with the moat here to protect like this stuff, but that doesn't solve the issue of we need to kill their cannons are going to outnumber us and we need to take the fight to them. Like we can't just turtle it in. We're outgunned, outmanned, outnumbered, and
Let's
hopefully not
abandon the city.
outplanned.
Outplanned.
Yeah, but we don't want to commit all of our melee units to the field
No, just
because
the
we
just
also
the
need
undead.
to have So yeah, we commit our undead out into the field, keep our other units and our other ranged units on the wall, and our other units, arrayed around to defend against ranged or flying.
Yeah, I just don't see how like a moat works against people on both sides.
Yeah.
So like it would also trap us behind it, which a wall
Yeah.
does kind of as well, but not nearly as much.
Yeah.
So,
and we could do a
it-
line of the pit traps or the you have to stop here or take damage at like 1250, and then bury undead around it. So when they get there, they either start falling into pit holes or having to stop or take damage, and then all the undead ambush them.
Thur, I have a question. Why are the first Villaplanche Outriders also Death Knights? Did we raise them from the dead?
You did, yes.
Damn. So we have 3 units of Death Knights.
You do.
on that
Maybe we
note,
should take the field. We got all this cavalry.
I have a question. We have the actions that we're doing here within defenses. Is there anything that prohibits us as heroes from trying to sabotage the cannons while they're on the march? We have access to a flying ship and a bunch of other stuff.
It'd also be a thing we
Zombie
could use
equipment.
Elijah's people for, somehow.
Yes. I mean, destroying in some way, sabotaging the cannons is much easier than trying to
Mhm.
deal with them once they're on the field. Especially if all we're trying to do is spike some highly specialized equipment.
Yeah, you could potentially do that. That's going to be harder because it's under guard.
What if we distract the guards?
I'm sitting here just like,
So-
what the fuck is Eric Thonius? Oh, it's Eric.
That's right.
We send Eric in.
Oh no.
They're like, oh shit, a dragon. We sabotage the cannons. Eric gets killed. There's a win-win.
Don't. If Eric was awake, she'd object to that.
Um,
We
so
send Eric in on top of Eric. They survive with 1 HP or die, both of them. A win with none.
so there is a training mechanic for Crowns and Castles. So what I would do is basically you could use sabotage to give the enemy cannons inverse training upgrades. So instead of giving a bonus to something, it would give a penalty. So let me look at the
I mean,
Here it
the
goes.
first thing I'd want to know is how many actual units of cannons they have.
Mhm.
That would be the most useful.
yeah. So you could spend
What if
one
we
of your.
just stole all their cannon wheels? Wouldn't they just be doomed?
I mean, they also have people that can fix those kinds of things, and they're
What
like,
if we steal them also?
I think it's more. This is one of those things where I'm curious of how much are they willing to delay a siege for the cannons? Can we delay the cannons in a meaningful way to give ourselves more time to do other stuff on top of that, or is it that if they're
Mhm.
pushing the invasion so that 2 weeks is their hard deadline and we can delay just the cannons, there's a chance we could start without them having the cannons on the field. I don't quite know how long the combat sort of thing
Can
goes
Aerith
for.
make a weather storm or something like that? If she just makes it rain for like a week, they'll get stuck in mud.
The Napoleonic style, it's true.
Wait, I might actually go visit my druid. They're like, hey, dude, can you just make it rain and the entire army will get stuck in sucking mud? It has to sit on the border and direct the thunderstorm in. Though if storm clerics can't have like the storm ability, that kind of sucks. They should get that. To be able to bring in the rain.
I guess it's also one of those things I wonder about if we can get Aerith or someone with access to shatter in close range, because if the cannon barrels get cracked, they're fucked.
Yeah.
They're
they have
not
really
useful
good
as
cannons.
cannons.
Well, the idea would be that there's enough cannons that like a single caster like is not going to make a big difference in the big battle. I went through and I adjusted all of the units character sheets, so everybody has access, should be able to adjust them now. Should be able to drag them on the field and put them places.
Yeah, we send in Arbaz. We make it rain. Arbaz sabotages the cannons by putting like, I don't know, explosives in them and capping them. I don't know, whatever. And they all get stuck in the mud, and then we kill the guys that try to fix it. It's simple. It's easy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but they're killing your guys that are sabotaging them as well, and fixing them.
Yeah, but
Look, we can't sacrifice our boss. He just got in a Magic the Gathering set. Like,
he's like
can't do
undead.
that to him.
So yeah, so I would say you could use one of your tasks to um, give the cannons. You can either use one of your tasks to give the cannons an inverse training upgrade, so that would be reducing its movement speed by 100 feet, um, reduce
I think I'd like
giving it
to
a
try to
-2 penalty to its attack rolls, a -2 penalty to its AC, or a -1 penalty to its maximum hit points.
Take off those hit points.
that.
How many hit points do things have in Crowns and Castles on average?
4 or so.
Okay.
The cannons, I believe, have 5.
Yeah.
Yep.
And if we
cannons
do
have
that, we
5.
make them weak. They're then less durable, and we outrange them. So I mean,
And that
Yeah,
would
from
bring
my
their cannon
experience with
down
the
to a
system,
2-shot for ours because our cannons do 2 damage. So if we take 1 hit
Yeah.
point off, that cannon is 2 shots.
I like that idea.
but yeah, from my experience, like removing their head or removing their AC does not matter in these big scale engagements, but the HP matters a ton.
Yep.
Man, when we were doing that little tournament thing to like try to balance these things, I was like, all right, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this fucking cheeky shit. I'm gonna get 2 more AC. Oh, they just rolled 20 a bunch of times and it didn't matter and they died. It's like, all right, I'm not relying on these AC things anymore. Or like, oh my one at plus attack and militia is performing as good as heavy infantry. It's like, oh, okay, you can't control random bullshit, but you can control +1 or -1 HP.
We hold a quick Olympics to constantly make our stuff level up real fast. You know, like a dwarf did.
We've won so many battles. We have a lot of veterans, that's for sure. If that carries over.
Well, pretty much every time we've had the battles in the past, the Dragonborn have suffered heavy casualties. So unfortunately, our veterans have just been evened out by training new recruits to basically have the same base combat experience.
Yeah.
What if we fill a shark with radioactive material and just like throw it at them and destroy all the cannons?
Where are you getting the radioactive material?
The Underdark.
How do you know what radioactive material is?
He's in Minor Noctum. He's
The
literally made
elephants.
it.
The elephants told him.
The
This-
elephants
This is
told
not a
him.
place of honor.
Okay, so I'm going to use one of Aerith's actions to do the -1 HP, right?
Okay.
Because I think we all agree that's a good decision.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Okay. I'm going to use my 2 actions to build a set of the palisade blockades that make them stop or take a damage probably like starting from the road and going up as far as I can with my 2 actions. Right at 1250. So that way they're right at the edge of our cannon's range.
Okay.
Because will those only affect the first unit that walk up to them, or will that affect all units that walk up to them until they're destroyed?
You're talking about the like
The
spiky
weird
bit.
named things. Yeah.
Do we get spells in this?
Yes.
Yes.
I think there's one that gives a thing like +1 damage or something stupid. I forget.
It is so.
Those will be my actions and one of Aerith's. So that's my section of the planning. There you go.
The Cheval de Frise is 2 squares where they have to end their movement when they enter the square, or the unit takes 1 piercing damage.
So it's really just stopping them from rushing necessarily, but once they stop, then they can move through it the next turn, correct?
That's right.
Yep.
So it slows them down.
Which is why I'm
Okay.
just trying to slow them down right at the edge of our cannon's range to give us maybe an extra turn to shoot them.
But I mean, I feel like that's not going to be effective against. We have to prioritize our cannons against their cannons at the start of the fight, right? Isn't that what we?
Right, and that's the whole thing. And that's we reduce their HP by 1. We outrange them now, like, so we have the advantage now of the cannon.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what I'm trying to stop is, they're not going to walk in with their entire army in one set line. Their cannons are probably going to be behind some infantry. So
Right.
I might be buying us a turn or 2 to shoot some infantry before their cannons are even within range of ours. And then their cannons just to stop at the edge of our range to get shot before they can move into range.
All right.
Maybe.
And by being on the walls, our cannons get advantage to shoot. Is that
Yep.
something?
That is, yes. Any of your units that are on the walls have advantage on ranged attack rolls. So I'm making this just as my notes.
Yep.
Of what you guys are doing.
Is it possible to raise a new cannon unit by training locals? And using cannons from other sections of the walls for them?
Let me look at my
Ooh.
notes here.
This city must have had some cannons around, yeah.
I mean, all the cannons that come from our unit come from a different settlement that we brought with us.
Mm-hmm.
So the cannons that were here, can we scrounge them up to get another cannon unit?
Yes. So you have enough cannons to form another artillery unit, another cannon unit. You don't know if you'll have enough time to train people in them in the 2 weeks. That's a pretty tall order, but you have captured.
We can cheat though, because
As-
if Noctum knows how to shoot a cannon, he can get all his skeletons know how to shoot a cannon.
Okay.
That's the power of the green crystal.
So we just train. I mean, training one person over 2 weeks to do a task is a lot easier than training 100 people.
I hope I
And
can.
then-
Yeah.
That will be my one task: learn how to shoot a cannon, and then teach the skeletons to do it.
Yeah, I think that works actually. Okay. So yeah,
Perfect.
you do have that. You'll be able to make a skeleton cannon.
There,
as one
there we go.
of-
We can still have the demi-human cannons, and we get the skeleton cannon.
More cannons on the walls.
Yay!
Sweet. That is my contribution to the planning. The rest you can make the rest of your own turns.
Yay!
And Lev, it's up to you to make Aerith's second turn.
All right.
Use Aerith's second turn to bury someone. There you
Yeah.
go.
It's yeah. So
We've been at this for almost an hour. I just want to make some decisions.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well,
So
it's
we're not
also
doing 1 in the
people
morning.
like
I'll be right back.
we need to figure out what the fuck's going on to make good decisions for.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
Uh,
think we're
Real
at
quick,
that point.
within Aerith's action, the sabotage cannons, is that sabotaging both of their cannon units?
You don't know the exact number of cannons that they're going to have. It will
That's-
sabotage 1 unit of cannons.
that's what
They could have
Aerith.
12.
That's what Isabella would be using at least one turn for. Is how many cannons do they have exactly?
Okay. So Isabella is recon.
Scouting force composition.
Scout number of cannons. Okay, I will
And-
tell you that once you figure out what everybody else's actions are for the first week,
Okay.
and then you can.
I will train up our what unit do we want to use in the Vanguard? I guess is a good question.
Also,
And is met
I'm a
with
little
silence.
confused mechanically within how walls and infantry work between this mechanics and the real stuff. Like obviously, in real siege, we wouldn't have any of our troops in front of the walls. We would just be tanking everything until they got close, and our troops are really just there to. Once they try to put the ladders up, then they're pushing them back down. I don't know how it works mechanically in this.
Very similarly, if they've built ladders.
Let me look.
Because I'm pretty sure that's an action they can take, but also I don't know
Yeah,
if they
so
can make a wall on the move.
it looks like they cannot attack or they cannot attack or move across the wall unless the unit is equipped with ladders or it's flying,
Okay.
which is something that they could potentially be equipped with.
And the flying, we know that they have some kind of swarms of bats, and so we're
Yep.
assuming they're flying. With the rest of them, are land based.
So are these green lines the Cheval de Fraisse or whatever the fuck? Like, what are these?
I think that was something you guys just marked as like the max range of your cannons.
No, this I had my own purple line, but then Elijah also put this.
Yeah, at 1250, wherever 1250 is where my Cheval de Vries is. From starting at the road and going north, that way they either have the difficult terrain south, or go farther north to get around.
So right there. So 1 square further. I'll just go ahead and put that there. And I'll update that with better graphics for the actual battle.
And then this cutout right here, Isabella would be putting a moat just to cut this out.
Okay.
Because we can do 3 squares of a moat, so that should make our cannons safe from anything just walking up to the wall and hitting them. So.
Where is... There it is. Okay. So Isabella is making a moat for her second action. So you guys still need to determine what Jacques and Minx's first actions are. It sounded like Jacques wanted to train a unit.
Yeah, I was gonna train up our Vanguard and our Vanguard unit to give them +1 to their attack.
Which Vanguard unit?
See, that was the question I was posing.
Yeah.
What unit
And
do we
the
want to
training
have as
gives
Vanguard?
+2 also, but
Cool.
yeah, I didn't think you were going to complain about that.
And then Arif's second action would be training up our demi-human cannoneers.
+2 attack to the cannoneers.
Yep.
I guess I would do it to the chain breakers.
All right.
Which chain breakers?
The
What?
512.
Okay. So that just leaves Minx.
Mm-hmm. Um. Hmm. So what are the options for training?
The options are 100 feet of movement, +2 to attack rolls, +2 to AC, or +1 to maximum hit points.
And we've built. We don't think we need to build any more Cheval de Frise. As a group.
I think that the moats and the Cheval de Frise stuff, since it's temporary for this siege, it'd be long-term better because the training stuff sticks with you if the unit survives.
Oh,
So
okay.
I think that we've put enough. We've put all the obvious temporary things on here. If we want to spend the rest training up units, that'll be better in the long term.
Right. Then he is going to spend his time getting 1 HP to the 2 melee Dragonborn units because he is tired of losing the few Dragonborn troops that he's got every time. So he fully intends on them surviving this time.
There's a fucking assassin. There's an assassin.
What?
Oh no!
I think she said there's an
The
assassin.
prophecy from Tika. There's an
Okay, so this is
assassin
what I
on
have
this.
from you guys so far.
Yes.
Okay, you guys want to lock in your first set of actions?
Yep.
Okay. So the enemy forces arrive. Isabella, you coordinate with your spies and scouts. They count 3 units of cannons.
All right.
So you guys have 2 actions remaining that you haven't decided yet. And you have not yet committed to your second set of actions, so you can potentially change them if you would like.
I am fine with Arif's and Isabella's.
How do I turn a unit?
So there
50
should
feet of
be,
movement.
if you click on it, there's a little line that goes up out of it, and then you grab it and turn it. Or you can, I think there's also a keyboard shortcut to do it, if I remember right. It's like Alt. Hang on, I can never remember.
It's the old, MS Paint or clip art thing. Like you click on it, it's got the little dongle. You just swivel the dongle.
Yeah. Hold the E key while scrolling your mouse wheel.
Yep.
There you
Oh,
go.
that whole thing again. Okay.
Yeah, that's the reason I switched to Foundry.
So my question would be, twofold. One, can Tenless train another skeleton cannon unit, or are we out of cannons for that?
You are,
And
well, the city, I believe, had 3 units of cannoneers inside of it. So you could potentially scrounge up another set of cannons for more skeleton cannons.
because if we had 3-on-3, it becomes a more even fight. But at the same time, we also, like they said, want to reduce their HP so that they're killed faster.
I mean, if we have more cannons, we also have the advantage firing from the walls.
Yes.
Yep.
So our cannons will be more effective than their cannons.
And a whole other unit is always going to be better than one off theirs.
So I'd probably have Tenless train another unit.
Sounds cool
We
with
have
I
that
think that's
many
the right
cannons.
idea.
We
Yeah.
have enough
Yeah, I
cannons
mean,
left for one more, Thur said.
The city had 3 units of cannons, and then you got more cannons from blah, blah, blah.
Villaplanche?
Not
Kaime.
Villaplanche, no.
Oh.
Kaime, yeah.
Yeah.
That's where you got the initial cannons from.
So we could technically have 4 units of cannons.
Theoretically, if you can find all of the cannons and account for all of them.
Is
But
that
there was a lot
gonna
of
be,
Too many eggs. How
is
about
that going to be a check?
Well, I mean, right now I don't think we don't have time because only Tenless can do the skeleton cannons. So having him train
Unless
one more
Isabella mind controls peasants to.
Yeah,
unit.
could do that. Just take some peasants and just force the knowledge of cannons into their brain.
There you go. Are we the baddies? Anyways.
I mean, I would do
They all
that
make
instead
mechanics.
of the moat if we actually have access to more cannons. I've been on the receiving end of cannons in these fights, and it makes all the difference. So
See, this is
Mhm.
Thur's plan. He's like, oh, those fools, they made all these cannons, but I actually made 10,000 bats.
For they were deceived. For there were bats.
For another bat was made.
Oh, you
For
guys made
another
a bunch of
cannon was
cannons?
made.
Well, how about a swarms upon
bat
swarms
cannon.
of like Milita level flying units? Can't kill
Honestly,
them
if we
all.
just have the rest of our ranged units on the walls shooting the bats, the cannon
Lizard
should
folk.
be fine. So,
You don't understand how many bats there are.
I don't.
But yeah, and then we could have Jacques' last thing be to sabotage one more unit of cannons potentially.
Yeah, so instead of the moat, I'll see if I can forcibly train another unit of cannons.
Um, yeah, I think that works. I mean, yeah, the challenge was to come up with a reasonable way that you could do it. So this is going to be the Matrix cannon unit.
Yep.
You get a bunch of peasants, put them in a room, and then stare at them, and they just look at you and it's like, we know how to shoot cannons.
Trajectory. I
Meanwhile,
know
halfway
that.
through the battle, sir, our free trial of cannons has expired.
Sir, what's a hypotenuse?
Okay,
I know geometry.
so this should be your final final plan.
What's rocket science?
Does this look good to you guys?
Yep.
So far,
Be a
Okay.
total of
Fuck it, cannons.
4 can. I cannot stress how how those cannons really change everything. The friggin' 1,200 feet.
They
Okay.
changed the
I
war.
agree.
So yeah, all right. So if you guys want to deploy the units you do have, I will make more cannons, and you guys can deploy them at the beginning of the next session,
Yep.
and then I will have the Alvarez army enter into the picture,
Excuse me.
and I'll pre-set up
more
initiative and
cannon.
everything.
We will.
Actually, here, also, somebody roll me a d20 real quick.
My
Won't
God,
be
Rack, what have you
possible now.
done?
What?
Nope. Okay. Well, Cell got to it first,
Well,
and he rolled higher
Rack
than me.
got to it. Oh wait, no, that's. I
Rack.
read Jack as Rack. Oh my God.
Okay.
What is in
so
this hard kombucha?
if there are initiative ties, you guys will go first. Right? Because remember, with Crowns and Castles, it's static initiative based on your
Cannons!
unit. So you guys will move first in the initiative order if there is a tie.
Okay. When we get the cannons, we might want to like stagger them with ranged units to protect from the bats. But otherwise, it's probably going to be like cannons and ranged units along the wall. So.
okay. So since we're not doing the moats, do we want to put melee units down there in that corner?
Yeah, probably. Like we'll need to see once all the units are on the map. We'll shuffle them around. But I'm just saying for when we get all of our units, if we have enough ranged, we're gonna want to stagger cannons, range, cannons, range, cannons, ranged. And
Okay.
then we'll see how many
Infantry we can fit on the
yeah,
walls.
how many infantry and stuff. Because we're gonna want to do a. Do cavalry have detriments when they're going through difficult terrain?
Not any more than just going through difficult terrain.
Okay.
Do we want me in charge of all aerial units since I have disengage?
Well, that's
Well,
no.
so you only give it to one unit.
Yeah.
Oh.
Which means we'll need to pick which one you're on, and it'll probably aerial or a cavalry, because aerial can already go through enemy units as if they're not difficult terrain. So your
Yeah.
benefit is better on cavalry, and we have a bunch of
Okay.
cavalry. So
Just toss one of the cavalry at me then.
and then I can
I don't
be
care
on
which.
the Matrix cannoneer, so I can give the shield thing to any of the cannons that get hit, and then Cell can be on one of the skeleton ones to give it the increased range, and that'll be the one that's the furthest south because it can shoot the furthest. And yeah. And we'll be good.
Sounds good.
But yeah, I think roughly the plan is stock the cannons and ranged on the wall. If we have any melee that like cavalry and stuff here, so they can cross the T. If we even want to do that, because we'll need to see where their cannon is positioned. Fuck. Well, we'll need to see where they position their cannons and if it's safe to put our guys anywhere. So.
Well, I mean, they're all going to be coming on from this side of the board.
Yeah.
So I was just going to have like basically have you guys place your guys where you want them, and then have them measure out how far you can potentially interact, and just not deploy them as if they've been marching towards you
Yeah.
and are
Well,
about to come into range.
Because that's the thing, is that there's going to be a no man's land of where if we put our infantry too far forward, where their cannons can shoot our infantry, but we can't shoot their cannons yet, so the melee
Yeah.
is going to need to hug the base of the wall and then come forward when they get too close. So
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying is basically wherever you put your infantry, right? So if you put a guy here, like the further forward you put your infantry, the further back I'm going to have my deployment zone be.
yeah,
But
it's
if you like have everybody hugging the walls, then I'm not going to have them all just walk on from here. I'll probably start them like here-ish, or maybe even like there. So if you want to have the battle start with them further back, you deploy infantry units further forward. If you don't care about that and you just want to let them get close, you can have them hug the walls. It's up to you guys to make that decision.
okay. We're
Yeah, I'd
good.
either have them hug it or inside of it. Did we
Yeah.
not end up burying that unit?
You did not.
Okay.
We decided to get other units instead. So
I
the
think it's all
cavalry's
cool.
probably going to want to be up here so that they can, if this is mostly open terrain, then they can just swing around and hit them from there. So,
Yep.
okay.
Okay.
Well,
You
we'll
guys
see.
want to start? You guys want to start pulling out units? I was hoping to get you guys all deployed
Oh,
so that I can deploy me.
I forgot that
um,
we could deploy them.
Yep.
Do you want to just duplicate the cannoneers, because the cannoneers are like the backbone of the strategy? We need to know where they're going.
Yeah, I can duplicate them and then just replace them, so we can keep track of which ones are which.
Okay, so bees here. Are the crows actually crows? What are these?
Alright, so
No,
5/17.
they're human ranged. I'm just gonna go through from the top and pull everything out. So, what did you yeah.
The Dragonborn
I'll
will
leave
be
the
on the
Dragonborn
field.
to you. I'm gonna pull everything else out.
Yeah, I already pulled the 2 that were assigned to me.
Okay.
No.
Oh yeah, he's not right.
Let's see. So that is the Hellish Mercenaries. They have 4 hit points.
Goodbye.
That was Vagabond, so I assume that she just went to bed.
It's a shame she doesn't have a mind for what the fuck? What are we doing? Skeleton armies? I don't know.
The zombies are a bit fucked up too.
No, they just don't have a token, so I had to improvise.
Zombies don't have a token?
I know, I was surprised too.
Not a very common fantasy trope, you know.
Oh, because skeletons. There's skeletons and ghouls instead.
Yeah, the undead, and they're not part of the like NPC tokens.
I think they just assume.
I think-
What are you using for them instead? Ghouls?
No,
raised
I
zombies.
took a screenshot of So there's the Raise Dead spell, which gives you
Yeah.
a unit of zombies. So I just took a screenshot because in it gives you like here's they are as they're 6x6 or 3x2 rather, 6 squares. And so I just took a screenshot and kind of cropped it.
I guess all the other units are like, well, faction ones, so that makes sense. Except for the flame, but there's flame skulls, but no zombies.
Wait, oh, there's 2 Marigons. You already got the Marigons.
Oh, and the Arenas, there's 2 of. Get rid of one of these.
I don't feel. I was just curiously looking at government features, and I found collective, and it's just like, oh yeah, you're warlocks. And I'm like, what is the
All-
higher power? The people?
So all of the governments are basically just the 5e class, but turned into a government. It's basically 5e, but instead of a player character, your character is a civilization nation, and the collective is the warlock thing. So it can be, yeah, they're the warlock analog. In the same way that anarchy is the sorcerer analog, dictatorship is the fighter analog, monarchy is paladin, etc.
Okay.
It's not a very idealized commune. It's more like the fucking cult leader commune.
Yes, it is very much a cult.
What? Yeah. All right, fine.
Like when
You can spin it as being nicer, but it is
you
it
can
is going
issue
into
edicts, which are
evil
stuff
communism.
like charismatic leader or approved literature. Like it is the cult.
They have a Stalinist idea of communism, clearly.
I mean, sorcerers are fucking pirates in that fucking book. So
Yeah, sorcerers are anarchy. So
Wait, all right.
it's not a good spin of anarchy either. So you gotta take what you get.
Fair. I'll take it.
and the Republic are the bards.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that also kind of works.
When Tika made a nation, she made a halfling dictatorship that I think was the second Breakfast Reich.
Oh my god.
It was something like that.
It was pretty funny.
Yeah. You'll never guess what class the monastic government is based off of.
This is one of those things where somehow I feel like saying monk could be right or wrong,
It's
and I
right.
don't think either
It's
one would
right.
surprise me.
It's incredibly right there. So
All right. And you've got 2 more cannons. Or 3 more cannons, rather. So yeah, so we're put your guys on the field where you want to deploy them. And
Man, you should have killed off more things than that fucking coup attempt. Because what the fuck, we got too much army.
I do have a question. Are our generals going to be out and about applying any of their benefits, or is that too much to keep track of?
what do you mean? Like the
I mean,
your
because
ca-
I
your
could
NPC
technically
captain?
assign like Shay and Arbaz the other cavalry.
Yeah, it's basically assumed that they're already doing that.
Well,
Like
would they also have the abilities though?
no.
Okay, yeah, I figured that
Yeah.
was too much to keep track of. I just wanted to check.
Yeah. This is already like 3 battles in one. So
what are these? Those are melee. That's where I want to put bows.
Thought you wanted the bowmen back here so they could shoot at bats.
If we put them on the wall, they get advantage to attacks,
Yeah.
and so they can shoot at bats from.
I'm just saying you need people on the back line because if you got all your bow dudes fucking flanked. it's a
How
bad
does that
time.
work with flying units? Can flying units
Well, they
flank?
just fly over your dudes and land behind them and get
Yeah.
advantage hits.
So that's why I'm thinking we put a. Oh wait, no, because that's.
So I guess we're gonna have to need some melee guys behind the walls because they need to respond to being flanked from bats.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, so we want them behind the wall, not in front of the wall.
Maybe I
You
don't know.
you want both, I think, realistically.
Okay, so if I
We
were
probably want the
Realistically, he says.
meat shieldist. Like the guys are gonna probably get shot by cannons out there, so
Yeah, I really don't want to put any of our infantry outside the walls until we have to. Like
Yeah,
we
I
could
think the
line up a
only-
few of them next to the gate and have them all walk out one after the next.
yeah, I think you only want like the tanky guys or like the cavalry outside the walls.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
The
okay.
cavalry to the north makes sense, and then I would say put some of our tankiest units next to the gate and have them walk out after the enemy cavalry is dealt with, and then array the rest of our infantry just around behind the walls to protect from flying units, and
Yep.
if walls go down.
All right.
Yeah, and remember that
Probably, let's see here.
you're gonna want to leave enough gap here for units to pass through. So like, if you wanted to go through here, the chain breakers would have to turn sideways and kind of like sidle through.
So then we're
Um,
probably gonna want to move.
So
Yeah.
gates are in fact only 1 tile wide when most units are 2 tiles wide.
No. Gates are actually 3 tiles wide, so it's the gate and each tile on the other side of it.
Oh, okay.
It's the unit, the cannons right here. That's the problem.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So we want to actually move everything down a tiny bit.
I'm doing.
Or
it.
up, yeah.
And you should also note the human archer ability that they have, which is aim. Oh, but
No
they
one
already have
else can
advantage. Never
aim.
mind. Lots of things can
Everywhere?
aim.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
if they're not adjacent to another unit.
But
That's.
they
yeah.
already get advantage from the walls, though. So who
Yeah.
cares?
Wait, so only one of our cannons gets that advantage range?
No, anything that's on the wall.
No,
Only one of our cannons gets an additional 100 feet from cell.
That's what I'm saying. Not advantage, but additional range. Only one of our cannon gets it.
Yes.
That's right.
So should I move? Now that I understand that, should I be moving the two things I built to 1,200 feet, which is range
No,
of all
because
of our
because
cannons?
that's only one of the 4 cannons. We still want
Yeah.
to trap the others in it.
But so he's saying he wants it to be at the max range of the of the majority of our cannons, whatever that range is.
Yeah, so that all the cannons are benefiting from what I built, not just one of them.
Oh yeah. Move it a bit. Oh, because you put it at 1250. Okay. Yes.
Yeah. So instead, it should probably be at like 1150.
Okay.
If that's what our Yeah.
Yeah, that way it's within range of all of our cannons. Now that I
So it
understand
should
that,
be 2 squares back.
yeah, I didn't understand that because last time our benefit was applying to multiple units, not one of them.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll be right back.
Can the flying units just hover above the ocean, or do they need to land on ground?
They can just hover above the ocean. That's fine.
Okay, so because I don't know where to put these guys for now. Yeah, there's yeah.
We can put them on this little island. There you go.
So these guys.
Or we can pretend there's boats out here. They're all sitting on the boats. I don't know.
I mean, they can be hovering. That's fine. I don't mind.
Well, the rules of the game are like they have to land on ground. But the
Well,
fucking
yeah.
thing.
I mean, it also lets you use them in naval warfare. So,
Well, That's because they're on boats, I guess. I don't know. I guess at the end of the day, all these rules are written so people don't try to break the game. So as long as people don't do that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. It looks like you guys are set.
Far as I'm aware, at least.
Okay. So let's see. So we need to decide um, who is in what unit. So I guess Rack, which unit are you joining?
Um.
Rax should have been a monk so he could parry all these cannonballs.
I have had a lot of luck. I will take the Black Bandana Raiders.
Okay. We'll mark them.
Ooh, wait, the Black Bandana Raiders. Wait a second. You have parry, right, Rack?
Correct.
The Black Bandana Raiders have shielded already, so parry plus shielded means that as a reaction you can just add your morale modifier to any attack, because one works first melee and the other works first ranged. So we probably
Cool.
actually want to put the shield guys more like down here, just so that you can more quickly. They're the ones who are going to be the most protected from enemy cannons, because they can shield themselves from ranged attacks.
Okay.
I would
Alright.
like to see the guy who can shield block a cannonball. I really would.
I mean,
I'll do it.
Uh,
Prepare to be amazed. I mean,
tint it. I don't know that that works. We'll just have to remember, I guess. Or actually, I can write it down. Rules, commander unit traits. The Black Bandanas have Jacques with parry. Then Isabella, who are you?
the Matrix Cannoneers.
The witch cannoneer? Oh,
The one that I downloaded
Yeah.
instructions into.
yeah.
Okay.
She's Morpheus Cartier.
And then Elijah, who are you taking?
First Villa Planche, Outriders.
Okay. Minx, where are you going?
I'm not sure. Considering my thing gives advantage to attacks, but all of our main range stuff has advantage to attack from the walls.
Yeah.
I mean, thematically, he'd probably stick with the Marines. Or is it the Marines or the Chainbreakers who have the Gladiator?
I think it's the Marines who are the heavy Dragonborn infantry.
He'd probably stick with them, just to really be prepared to be in the absolute thick of it.
Gladiators
case.
are really fucking good units.
So the reason, and feel free to overwrite me, guys. The reason I put the zombies here is they're the slowest unit. So when we want to start sending things in, we can start doing it earlier with the zombies, and once the zombies are out of the way, we can go forward. They're also, if we decide to put something outside of the walls in cannon range, I think the zombies are the ones we want to put out first.
Makes sense to me.
Okay.
So that's the downside. Is since they have 200 movement, as opposed to everything else, which has 300 movement, is if we don't get them out of the way quick enough, they could potentially clog that entrance. So, and then the
We'll just have
cavalry
to
are up here for reasons.
get them going.
We can probably actually move them a bit further up, just so they.
But what if a counter strategy? What if we put all our cannons outside the walls and send all our cavalry out forward, and then our cavalry dies, and then we lose our all artillery, and then Winterfell falls? Oh, sorry. Yeah. Such a dumb show.
Campaign over, fade to black. Literally.
So I assume
Endless
not-
zombie hordes, catapults outside the walls, outriders charge into them. I'll die.
We could also alternatively, if we don't feel like the zombies are going to be all that useful, we can leave them in the back to try and respond.
We could put them in the west
to
side
aerial
watchtower.
Because I'm not sure how worried we are about aerial units flanking and coming around behind. Because we do have enough melee things to be like protecting the. Like we could use the zombies as like backline guards for the cannons is the alternative. And like instead of these guys here, we could put like the zombies like this, just because they're less so they don't need to be as responsive. Would we rather use the zombies as guards for our backline, or would we rather use the zombies as cannon fodder frontline? That's the choice.
With such a wide open backline, we want a fast backline.
Yeah.
Okay, that was my initial thought too. I just wanted to.
Yeah, and remembering that your inside the city is difficult terrain.
Does the nimble
Yeah, so
thing
that
mean
makes
they
them
can
even
avoid
smaller,
difficult terrain?
Slower.
It does not. No.
Okay.
Is it difficult terrain for us as well?
Yes, for everybody.
I was thinking
swamp-
that was the
the swamp
defender's
hunters-
advantage.
Can teleport though, so you have a couple of your flying units obviously don't care about the city and can respond quickly in that environment, and the swamp hunters can also they have teleport, so they also basically ignore difficult terrain.
Mhm.
All right. Swamp hunters are, because they've got a ranged thing, so they could also protect the cavalry until it's time to come back and do shit, and then these guys can just be.
Do we want to turn those Megarons to the left?
Oh yeah, we can.
They
Yeah, I think until we see what we're fighting, it might depend on where our range or our flying go. Because if we can like outshoot their cannons, we're good. And that way, our flying units can deal with all the things trying to fuck with our cannons. So
Clara, the map might need to be one taller, just to fit the 3 rows of cavalry.
oh. Um. I mean, it was fine when you had them one down. It's just
Well,
that
that would put them on the wall, and I wasn't sure if we were treating the walls impassable.
it is, yeah.
No, one sec.
I mean, they could just be. The wall kind of splits the space. They could just kind of.
Yeah, that's
be
what I
up
figured. Is
against
like the Marangons are inside the walls, on those spaces, and the Death Knights are outside it. So you can just pass through just fine.
Yeah. Even if they weren't, I'm controlling that unit. I can still pass through just fine.
So I'm
Honestly,
assuming,
I wonder if you shouldn't move me like back one and move the other ones down. That way they're not trying to get through this difficult terrain. If this is difficult.
yeah. So I'll go through, and in my prep, I will outline all the territory that is difficult. I will update the cannons to be appropriate. So I'll. Which one do you want to be the one with Noctum in it? Because that's really the one that matters. Do you want it to be
Further south, right?
the furthest south one? Okay, you got it.
That's
yeah.
the one that'll need the range the most.
I'll draw a line around all the squares that are difficult.
Okay. So we reserve the right to move our cavalry around. depending
Like-
on that drawing.
Alright, I'm back.
To catch you up, Lev, we're
Yeah.
reserving the right to move our cavalry around depending on the difficult terrain.
That makes sense.
Okay. Okay, you guys, I think we're good. So I will set up the enemy forces, and we will start. And I will preset the initiative order, so we should be all good to go to start the battle. When we come back next week.
Cool, cool.
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
I call dibs on all the corpses.
We're gonna need them.